So let's get started. So tonight, I'm starting off a new solo play RPG. This one's called Artefact, and it's pretty cool. I've seen there's another game like this. Can't remember what the name is off the top of my head, which I actually own it. But it's like where the player characters are magic items in the world, and there's it's not a solo game. This is a solo game where it's so cool because it's like here's the premise. You played all these D&D games or whatever games, fantasy-based games, where the heroes of the story acquire these magic items, and some are immensely powerful magic items, and some are these kind of just they do little things type items. And this game asks the question, well, where did it come from, that those items that the hero uses? Where did they originate? What's their story? There's a story behind them. That magic ring of protection that you have didn't just pop into existence when you found it in the pouch of the orc you slayed or what have you. It came from somewhere. It has a history before that orc picked it up. It was created somewhere. And this game kind of asked the question, where did it come from? Let's hear the story of the item. And I think that's just so cool. Because again, step back, there is a story behind it. Pardon me, I'm getting over it's like a lung thing. Apologize. But there is a story behind these things, and it deserves to be told, and this game kind of helps you do that. So kind of bear with me. This is my first time playing. It's not like it's a long game. I think it's all of like, including large print pages to do kind of like the different items. I think it's less than 20 pages or something like that. There's not a lot of rules, which is great. It's more like prompts. Let's build this story. Do this here, make this happen, etc. So let's just kind of jump into it. And I apologize because this is my first time, and again, it's not a complex game by any stretch. But I do want to do it justice, and let's kind of let's get into this. So let's do this. So let's switch to here. So let's see here. You know what? I'm sorry. I just want to, for my people who enjoy the web captioner, I just want to make sure that this is adjusted right. And it looks like it's not. So give me just a second. So let's do a little this action and a little that action. I'll probably adjust this later, but whatever. All right. So I am not going to actually be using the book. You will not be seeing the book in my stream. If you want to see it, buy it. It's so important to support the people who make games and develop games and help distribute games, etc. It's important to support them and get them to make more. So yeah, if you want to see the book, buy it, and it's not expensive. It's not going to break your bank. But the author does have copies of the game if you're in if you're in dire financial straits and that kind of thing, and they want you to have this. And I'll be posting all the information to get the game, the author, etc. And I meant to write all this down, and I didn't, and I don't want to really break away to do right now. But yeah, it'll be all in the description once this gets to YouTube form. So let's kind of jump into it. So first of all, we need to pick what type of thing this is. What kind of magic item we're going to start with, and let me be clear. You are the magic item. You are this item. You are this at least somewhat sentient magic item, and that's the role you play. Everything is from your point of view. So and we'll kind of get to how that really impacts things once we get to times between, I keep wanting to call them bearers, but the game term is keepers. I'm like, Lord of the Rings ring bearer. I never heard said ring keeper, but the game uses ring keeper, or uses keepers, so I'll do my best to kind of use that terminology. Forgive me if I don't, or if I slip. So I decided I'm going to try something. I kind of looked at the list of items, of types of items, and I decided that, let's see here. And I decided that I wanted to do a instrument to start with, because I think that's a little bit different. So yeah, there we go. Let's make sure my web capture is working right. Okay, go. All right, so yeah, anyway, we're doing an instrument, and it's going to be a good time. I'm kind of, so I that's all I allowed myself to think of, like, this item, etc., and I didn't want to I didn't want to prepare myself, so I just said instrument, and I think a drum of some sort. That's all I allowed myself. I wanted to kind of keep all of this for this stream and this video. So let's start with it's an instrument, and I kind of get this feeling. So let's kind of like look at what we need to do here. So here's the general description. So you're carved out of exotic woods and fibers by a renowned artisan. Describe them, the materials, and their workshop. Okay, so let's do that first. So I think I'm also going to give it a name. I don't know that name yet. Again, I wanted to kind of do this. Let's see. The drum called, geez. Thundermaker. Ooh, I like that. That was off my top of my head, so I'm glad we picked that. Yeah. Cool. All right, so the drum called Thundermaker. And let's see. So it was created by an artisan. Let's see here. So let's describe what it's made of. This is kind of the first bit of fun we get to have with this. So, like, let's see here. I'm gonna try to write this stuff from the first person. So let's see. It's gonna be, this is maybe more journaling heavy than you might do it, but that's kind of how I want to accomplish this here. So yeah. So let's see. So, let's see. I was created by an artisan named Shinwoo, master of woodcraft. He was renowned for, thank you, autocorrect. He was renowned for mostly crafting tools of war, but at the request of a local, and we'll get to who the bearer is eventually in this process. But at the request of a local, created myself. I am made from the wood and bark of a fallen tree, a tree which fell during a turbulent storm. My surface, so the here, come on. I'm not sure what's up with my web captioner. Let's see here. Let me just double check on my web captioner. Okay, seems to be working. Okay. Maybe try something here. Here we go. Oh, that's good. Okay. Okay. I think I see what I need to do. Okay. All right, we're gonna test this out. Sorry, my web captioner is giving me troubles, but I'm working through it. Okay, so let's continue with the story here. I think it's good to go. Come on. Come on, web captioner. All the problems. Okay, well, let's just keep going. All right, so my drum surface is made of the tanned skin of what? Let's see. And skin of the deer. Ooh, no, a bear that was killed by a strike of lightning. If you look closely, you can even see the vestige of the burn on one side of my form. The sinews stretching skin and holding me together are made from, let's see here. Kind of brings us together. He's still up. This man still is he creates weapons of war. Made from the hilt wrappings from a weapon that he had created that was destroyed in battle. Nice. Let's see. Woo blessed me, and that is when the spark of wonder entered into the form of this drum and became me. Thundermaker. Cool. Okay. My web captioner leaves a little bit desired. But here we are. Okay. Okay, so let's get to the next part, rather. All right. So describe, so I did step one, describe the materials or workshop. I pretty much did that. Let's add 3 traits describing the item. I was going to draw it tonight, but I might do that. I'm going to do that after the fact, and kind of, because drawing it isn't quite integral to this experience, for at least for you, the viewer. So I'm going to do the drawing later, and I'm going to insert it when all this is said and done. Each item, I'm going to be putting it into its own document and sharing it on my Discord. So kind of, that's also going to be, if you're watching this on YouTube, then also going to be in the description. If you're watching me on Twitch, that's in my about below. Okay. right, so let's pick 3 traits that kind of make this thing it, if you will. So let's see. I'm going to kind of look at what's already there. Let's see here. 3 traits. Let's see. It'll be cacophonous, sustaining. Ooh. All right. So traits. Cacophonous. How do you spell it? Fun. Let's see. So cacophonous, sustaining, and really, sure, works for me. All right, sustaining, and I'm going to kind of keep with the suggested traits. Let's go with devious. Sounds like an interesting one to add in. Let's do that. Okay. All right, next. Let's see here. All right, so we had 3 traits. Embellish your drawing with trinkets, inlays, and other. Again, I'm going to kind of do this off stream, but I may impose it onto like the beginning of the YouTube video, and it's definitely going to be on my Discord. So please check that out. All right, so we have our basis here for Thundermaker. So what we do now is we go to the first section here, newly forged. So I've just been created, and it's time to choose a hero from below. Okay, so first, step 1, describe the keeper and your acquisition. I like Revolutionary Leader, I think, for this one. Let's go with Revolutionary Leader. Why not? All right. Revolutionary Leader. Let's see here. I will kind of bring this over. Okay. Oop. Keeper. Revolutionary Leader. And let's pop in these 2 guys. Okay. So we're gonna describe the keeper and acquisition, answer keeper's question. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? So, Revolutionary Leader. Who is this person? How did they come to acquire me? And Ishtan. I was a gift to Ishtan from Wu, specifically to help him fight against the despicable tyrant who ruled over the land. God, I gotta create so much land of horror. Sure, why not? Let's see here. Ishtan was a well-known guerrilla fighter and outspoken the outspoken enemy of the ruler of Core. We haven't named him yet. All right. And actually had a chance to potentially crush this regime and return the land to a semblance of peace. But before peace can be achieved, sometimes there is the need for war. Capital W. A thing known by both Wu and Ishtan. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Let's continue this here. Upon finding out that Wu had gifted this new, had gifted, I've never it's me, gifted myself an item of some of unknown power. We don't know how it's going yet. Power to his mortal enemy, Anzig, ruler of Core, personally visited Wu's workshop with a large group of armed men. They then, without word, apprehended and executed Wu and his family. Ooh. Upon learning of this, Ishtan vowed that vengeance would be had by the citizens of Core on Anzig, and his head would roll. Cool. Alright, so yeah. So that's the acquisition. So I think maybe I answered part of the questions already. Let's see here. Describe the social. Let's see. Well, let's just get into it. Why not? So I'm just gonna hold that. Okay. Under Anzig's rule, all citizens were trampled under the gold-gilded feet of Anzig and his army. Only those of noble blood were spared this this treatment And then only if they allied themselves as vassals to the crown. The common citizenry suffered greatly, starving and not knowing comfort for many years, but fearing to act out as the punishment would be even more severe. I think it goes without saying, but let's say it. Okay. Okay. So let's answer the second one. And then we'll go on to another table which we choose off of. Kind of cool. All right. So okay. So how did you help them achieve their first major victory? Let's see here. Okay, so Ishtan. Okay. Ishtan, through chance, discovered that when he drummed, struck mallet against my hide, the reverberating sound sent chills through the spines of those around him. His allies found themselves invigorated by my deep thrumming tones, while his enemies felt twinges of fear. So I'm kind of building on that out of this cacophonous, sustaining thing. This devious will come in at some point, but I think that's a good start. That makes a lot of sense for what I was going with. Let's see. So using my power to his advantage, let's see here. So using my power to his advantage, the cacophonous. Please autocorrect that for me, yes. Cacophonous, booming sound. So using my power to empowering his troops, he led them into battle and overthrew we're not done yet, one of the smaller cities nearby the capital, and took down the flag of Anzig, proclaiming it free country, a free city. Let's call it free city. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And vowing to continue this march to the seat of Zig's power itself. All right. Cool. All right. So we answered the questions. And now let's go on to the next part. So, okay. So, all right. So we answered the keeper's questions. Now I choose from one of the following tables. So we go to Valor and Victories or Neglect and Mischief. So the question is, which do I choose? And there's no dice involved here. It's just choose, which is pretty cool. You know, you as the item kind of get to tell where you're going. And I am a powerful drum that inspires troops and generates fear in the enemies of my holder. Let's see. All right, so let's look at. So I'm going to say. I want to go with the good story and say there's some victories in valor, and we can always go elsewhere from there. But let's find out. Okay, this is a good one. All right. So your keeper defeated their sworn bitter rival in a duel. Where did the contest take place, and why was their animosity so severe? How did you help them win? That's under valor, victories and valor. All right. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. All right, give me a second to format. Okay. Defeated. Okay. So keep in mind this is just this first keeper, my first keeper. Yeah, I have to get in character here. Trying to you're kind of explaining things while staying in character is a little difficult here, but I'm trying. Okay. Okay. So let's figure this out. So yeah, so I have this I'm involved in this one big battle that claims this smaller city off the capital, but there's still more to do. As long as Anzig is in power, this is all for nothing, right? And I can see, you can just see as this drum, this item of power that my guy, recognizes. Ishtan recognizes, and I'm possibly his most valuable possession, and I'm a possession, and I'm okay with that because I need a keeper to experience things. And I mean, I'm sentient. I can sense around me. I see this story, and I kind of can influence it. I have power. Can I tweak things? Can I make things happen? I don't know. I'm still new. I still have the resin left on me by my maker Wu, and yeah, let's find out. So we basically come to this battle. Ishtan, my keeper, is he knows what he has in me and how I was key to his victory. So let's and it would only make sense that of course he keeps using me as I to progress forward and get his fellow citizens out from under the foot of Anzig. It's horrible, and I have to imagine again. I'm sentient. I sense things. he talks to me probably, without realizing he can maybe communicate with me. Like he probably doesn't think I'm a real sentient creature. And that's kind of, isn't that interesting? I mean, when you get that, ring of protection +1, this is a piece of metal you put on your finger and it protects you. It never occurs to your character that maybe with this, there's this spark of intellect that comes with this magic. Why not? It's magic. So, yeah, so I have to admit, I have to wonder, I think he, Ishan talks to me without realizing he's talking to someone else, something that I have an intellect. And, he's kind of recounting how things went, under Anzig's rule and how horrible it was and how he's finally making a difference. Like, he thought he was going to be dead, killed by one of, Anzig's, assassins or whatever, just by chance. And here he is. He just beat a city and now he has to go forward. So all right. So, after several other victories, we find ourselves, because I'm trying to tell this from the first person point of view. We find ourselves on the battlefield, one large army flying the gray and purple of Anzig, while the other army flies no flag, because my guy Ishtan is not fighting for, power. He's not fighting for a flag. He's fighting for a destruction of a flag. He's fighting for freedom for his people. So while the other flies no flag. Yeah, so let's put it Ishtan fights. Doesn't fight for flag or power, but for the freedom of his fellow citizens. After an exchange of insults and arguments, the two leaders decide that rather than have their armies fight, it would be better for them to meet in combat and decide the fate of the kingdom with steel, with their own steel. Good start. I like that. I'm gonna apologize. I'm still getting over this cold. All right. So yeah, they decided to make steel. Ishtan hands me to his most trusted lieutenant. Let's see here. May. She knows how valuable I am to Ishtan, and I feel comfort knowing that she will protect me with her own life, if necessary. I have seen her with my keeper, and he trusts her like no other. He has told her the secret of my power, and she knows what to do. as the two warriors meet at the center of the battlefield, she begins to drum a somber tune upon me, and is soon joined by the chanting of Ishtan's soldiers. The sound becomes so loud that I make certain to be heard over it, for I am where my keeper's secret weapon reside. It is in the vibrations that I send forth unto the battlefield that steal the keeper and put a spark of fear into his bitter enemy. As when steel has finished flashing on steel, the beating on me subsides, and my keeper, Ishtan, stands victorious over the broken and bloody body of Enzig. We have won. Nice. I like it. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So again, this is I'm doing this pardon me, in more of a chronicling type of fashion than maybe you would playing this. This is certainly not necessary, but I think I like this. This is definitely my way of doing it. So let's continue. All right, so we rolled on the thing. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. So let's do this. It's kind of so I rolled. I chose one from the table. We did that. But the table has questions. Let's see here. Okay, so and as part of this, let's see here. I'm going to change something as I grow notorious, proud, or legendary. Change something. So things you can change: a trait, a detail about the physical appearance, a detail about something in your world, a name, a faction. So let's see. Detail about something in your world. Interesting. So let's do this. I think I'm going to change the name. So the question is, so right, when we start here, I called Thundermaker because that's what Shinwu named him. That was the substance of what I'm created from, was originated with the storms in all senses. But now maybe I'm something else. So let's see. So after the battle, Ishtan is offered rulership, but turns it down. He never wanted the power of the crown, just the freedom of his people. Why am I doing the freedom like I'm British or something? I don't think even British do that. Just freedom of people. My let's see, my presence at the event of the duel was not lost on anyone, and has, let's see, I'll change it around later. Let's see. So my presence at the duel is not lost on anyone, and to better signify my place in the battle, I was renamed. Okay, so let's see here. I was renamed. How about Justice Bringer? Justice Bringer. See, it's kind of cool how that all sounds. I mean, if you heard, there's this magical item called Justice Bringer. You would think sword. It's a sword. It's an axe. But no, it's a freaking drum. Me. And I'm proud. Okay. So let's see. So we've changed something. So we did that. So let's go back to my keepers. Or my keeper. Okay. So consider how the keeper loses you is next. Interesting. I'm gonna say, ooh. All right. So consider how the keeper loses. Okay. So consider. So okay. So here we go. Ishtan was true to his word and never took on the mantle of king or any, any sort of politician. He remained a soldier general, heading the army of the new the new kingdom. It's called newly minted kingdom. Let's see. Risentum. I don't know. Sounds good to me. But as the years passed, he had seen so much blood, brewed so many scars, and cried many tears of loss, and stepped down from even this military position. He became a farmer and put me aside in a barn where I watched cows milked, chickens fed, and heard roosters crow as time slipped past my gaze. Time slipped by. Let's go with that. Let's see. Justice Springer. Now merely a forgotten drum in the back of an old farmer's barn. Would see Ishtan in the distance every now and again, but all at once he stopped passing my gaze. I don't understand the passage of time completely, and certainly not as a mortal. But even I grew weary of the wait for another to drum upon my surface and call forth my power. Man, that's so sad. Did you ever think about this? No, I didn't. This magic item, it kind of gave everything to its keeper, because it had to, but kind of because it formed this kind of bond. And as far as it's concerned, like a blink of an eye has happened. A page has turned, and he went from this, not quite legendary thing, but this noteworthy thing, to this paperweight sitting in a barn. Probably, stuff's probably piled on top of him over the years. On top of me. Sorry, again, I'm in character. Piled on top of me. I can imagine like this thick layer of sawdust and dust. Horseshoe laid there, a mallet. Ironically, wow, I just put it out there, but ironically, kind of like a mallet kind of resting against me. The idea that this mallet that could be bringing me to life, that could be releasing my power and influence onto the world again, is right there leaning against me, and no one there to use it. My power goes untapped, and I just wait. All right. So let's see what happens next. And as you can see, there are several sections of this. We're just in the first. So let's see how it goes here. So that was just my first keeper. I'm not close to done yet. All right, so my new keeper loses me. Move to time to wait for a new keeper. So there's a time section. So time for the newly forged. So choose amount of time. Just wait until your next keeper arrives. As you rest, think about silence and solitude of abandonment. Wow, that is deep. So I've seen a review where this part was compared to kind of like a meditation tool. The game is forcing is a bad word, but the game wants you to take time to just not do anything while you're waiting for, something for your new person to take you. So let's see here. So I'm gonna say a whole decade passes. So I'm gonna rest for a minute. So there is there is a kind of like a expansion, if you will, source book to kind of for stuff that lasts a good long. When you're resting for a good long time, do this thing. You kind of watch this. You're kind of sitting there watching what you can, and it just so happens that there's this tiny group of whatevers that kind of develop over time, over the years that you watch them. But I don't think a decade is really long enough, even though I'm resting for a minute. I don't think it's long enough to really invoke that. I don't want to get not right now, at least. So let's see here. All right, so I'm going to rest for a decade. So the game would like you to wait 1 minute. And again, this kind of, think about this. This is like, this is the almost time is seen passing by the item. You're in a sense immortal. Time doesn't mean the same thing to you as it does to humanity or elvanity or orcanity or whatever you want to call it, passing by to mortals. It's kind of like this thing that happens when you're not being kept by someone. So, yeah, very cool. So let's do that. So I'm going to rest for 1 minute. I'm just going to have my little timer here. I talked to the creator of this game, and I got permission to use the logo for my stream, as you can see, because I always want to do that. But I didn't think to get like the music. So when you buy this game, you get a music soundtrack of rest music. So like so many seconds, minute, etc. And it's I've listened to one or two of them, and they're relaxing. But I didn't get permission to do that, and I don't want to do that right now, so I'm not going to include it in this stream. But I will do it as the game requests and wait. So you'll excuse me while I rest. Just gonna kind of close my eyes, sit here, and think about what my life, my existence used to be as as this instrument that knew like prestige and power and a place in the world, and suddenly becomes this forgotten thing. So it's a decade is gonna pass in this time while I'm resting. So let's rest for 1 minute. Yeah. So I normally wouldn't want to do this on a stream. I'm not sure if I'm probably edit it out of the video just so that watchers don't have to actually sit and watch me with my eyes closed. But in the spirit of this game, I'm going to do this. So let's count down 1 minute. I'm on my phone. So here we go. 1 minute. Hold on. All right. A decade has passed. Cool. All right. So we're back. So so hey, we've rested for a decade or abouts. So after completing your rest, choose a new keeper. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. So let's look at my thing here. And I kind of really forge. Number 1. All right. All right, let's go to keeper number 2. All right, so let's look at what keeper can be. So again, we're still on the newly forged era, if you will, section of the game. So I did a revolutionary leader. Let's see here. Trying to think of who might have come by. Let's go with a rogue without a master. A rogue without master. Her name will be, let's see here. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of a decent name here. Just kind of like something that's not related to any area, best I can. I'm just gonna try Faosha. Faosha. Sure. Why not? All right. Keeper number 2. Okay. We'll answer questions here. Let's see here. And I'll pop it on there. Okay. All right. So what marks him as a soul unburdened by servitude? Then followed by this guy here. All right. I just want to kind of see how I did up here. Follow like the general thing. All right, so I'm going to kind of start with like description, and then I'll go to the actual question. Let's. Okay. So Faosha. So this I'm going to kind of describe how Faosha finds me. Faosha. Was on the run from let's see, lawmen, following her in hopes of recovering the statuette that she had stolen from a local merchant. She had insinuated herself into the merchant's household. The merchant's household by introducing herself as a servant for hire. And a good one at that. The Faosha had many recommendations to her name, all of which were forged. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm being picked up by a con artist. I didn't even see that coming. I know all of this as she whispered to me as she slept just under the shelf on which I rested these past years. She'd buried herself in hay, which covered me as well. Listened to her whisperings, and it wasn't long before she was ready to leave, and she looked around, as is her habit, for anything of worth. She rightly discovered me. With a smile on her face, she picked me up and drummed against the skin of my side, the thrum awakening the power within me. A power that she immediately sensed. She had inadvertently found more of a prize than she had bargained for. I know I'm ending with preposition, forgive me. Okay, so let's answer some questions. Okay, what marks them as a soul unburdened by servitude? Good question. Let's answer that. Okay. Marksman is soul unburdened by servitude. Let's see. Oh. She has a mark that shows her to be a former slave. The brand on her ankle is now illegible as she burned it off herself to free her of this burden of forced servitude. She is as free as she can make herself. And she knows that she is her only limitation in that sense. Nice. How did you help them pull off their boldest stunt yet? Ooh. Good question. Okay. Let's see. Shah had been my keeper for a blink of an eye. Yet she routinely made use of my power to strike fear into her enemies. Her most bold use of my power was to walk straight into the court of a local noble, drumming on my side, stride up to her and take a jewel from the Duchess's finger, then turning and walking unhindered, using the ring to keep my music of intimidation going. That's pretty ballsy. I could totally see that happening. All right, so what's next? All right, so we've let's see here. Oh, you know what? We forgot to answer artifact questions for that last keeper in this one. So let's. I don't like going back and retconning what's already happened, so we'll just answer it for this one. I'm gonna actually first. I gotta choose the mischief or whatnot. I think mischief is a better. Neglect or mischief is a good one for here. Let's do that, and then I'll answer an artifact question. Hmm. Let's see. I think I found a good one. Okay. So, powerful magic has a toll. You corrupted your keeper, causing malaise, sickness, and eventually death. Was this ruination intentional? Interesting. So, all right. From day of my creation, I was meant to use my power to overthrow the wicked and unjust. Yet, as time passed, and my keeper began to grow gray, I could see that she had used my power through her time with me. It kind of came out like that, through her time with me. Like, not my time with her. She spent it with me. I'm going to keep going. She's going to cease to be soon. As all mortals do. Yet, as time passed, my keeper began to grow gray. I could see that she had used my power through her time with me for unjust means, and had caused a little sorrow and loss along the way. Soon thereafter, she became the enemy that I was fashioned to defeat. From that point onward, every time that she thrummed my side, the deep sound that emanated from me caused fear in her instead of her enemies. A fear which grew in her like poison, and it was as she sat by the side of a lonely road with me in her hand that she looked upon me and asked why, but then somehow knew the answer. In the next moment, her breath failed, and I fell from her grasp and rolled off of the path. Okay. So let's ask an artifact, or do an a response to an artifact question. So let's go up to let's see here. Sorry, I was gonna get up to my item. Oh, here we are. So let's see. I suppose you know what? Actually, we did kind of answered a question last time with the honorific. Over time, you gain a name or honorific. What is it and why? So even though I called that a change, that actually did answer this artifact question. So we didn't actually miss it for last keeper. So let's see here. Artifact question. What's a good one? Let's see. Cool. All right. All right. Artifact question. All right. All right. Okay. So artifact question. You were there. Your music filled the air and the brute was outclassed. Now the story is a popular legend. What major detail do people get wrong in the retelling? This sprung in my head. When people tell the tale of the duel of Danzig and Ishtan, say how Danzig Never landed a blow, but I know that my keeper nearly died from his wounds after the battle. Cool. I like that. All right, so you've answered an artifact question. So let's go back here. Okay. Okay, now something else, something changes about us. Something changes because of this. And I'm gonna say that I'm gonna change a trait from devious, because again, this is, I kind of chose devious as like, this thing would be on the battlefield. It would be like, outwitting, helping to outwit the enemy, but I just don't see it. I'm not sure how, if this has a strike through, but let's see here. Let's just out. And instead, it is just. But once justice, it seems like, again, that was what it was made for. Deviousness really holds no place here. This is a thing of justice. This is helping to fall the evil, the unjust, the malicious. So I think that makes a whole lot of sense. All right, so we did change. So let's go back. And we already know how I lose my keeper. So we go back to moving in time. Yeah, things did not go very well for Fao Sha. Well, for a while. But yeah, I kind of put in there, like she becomes gray. I think over time, I think maybe my change was an overtime thing too. So she probably has got gray way before her time, like, before normal people go gray. Because slowly but surely, this feeling of mine where, she causes pain and rampant injustice. I keep sensing that, and I keep forcing all of that fear into her, this poisonous fear, until finally I get it totally and send that last bolt through her. And that's all she wrote. So, okay, so I'm still in the newly forged area. Let's see here. So, interestingly, I am going to be choosing a new keeper, but I'm moving to the second act. A Time of Glory, kind of like the second part of this story, if you will. You start with newly forged. Next part is A Time of Glory, kind of like your heyday, I'm assuming. Again, I kind of made it, I kind of forced myself not to read too much about this, into it, so I can be surprised along with you, the viewer. And then the last ruination, either when it's lost forever-ish. Because like, I think part of this, I want to make this so that these are like, magic items that I can provide to other people in their campaigns and stuff. So maybe it doesn't get totally destroyed or totally lost forever, but I'll last for a time. But basically, yeah, so this is the whole life cycle of this magic item. So we're about to cross into A Time of Glory. But let's do our rest first. Okay. So I think I'm just going to do a year here. Does it like, this is, I'm rolling off to the side of a path. So I'm just going to do a year. So rest, a year in this instance is 40 seconds. Oh, excuse me. These medicines I'm taking for my cold are making me tired. All right. So I've, pardon me. So yeah, I'm going to rest for a year before my new keeper finds me. So that's 40 seconds. And again, I'm going to kind of, I'm just going to sit here for my full 40 seconds and contemplative thought as you rest, think about the silence and solitude of abandonment. In this case, I kind of contributed to my own abandonment, but there we are. All right, starting the 40. So bear with me. All right. And I've been found by my next keeper. Okay, so as I said before, we're going to move on to a time of glory, the second setting, basically the middle act, if you will, of my life, my existence, my life. I can't call it life. There is no life here. There is a sentience and an existence, though. Let's see here. All right. So let's see here. Actually, I'm about to reach my halfway point, so I think I'm going to take my break. Pardon me. Pardon me. Pardon me. My web capture sucks, but that's what I got. So yeah, I'm going to take my break, and I'll be back in 10 minutes. And we'll find out about my new keeper, and find out what happens in my time of glory. You're back. Pardon me, I'm just got some hydration going, a little throat lozenge going on there. Help me out. Okay. All right, so let's get back to my first keeper of the second era of myself, which is a time of glory. So, yeah, so let's see. I think I've chosen a monster hunter as my next keeper. Come on, sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, keeper number 3, monster hunter, named named Oduyu. All right. Gonna see if I'm doing a format here. All right, so yeah, let's talk about let's see. Yeah, so let's talk about this keeper, and we'll do a little story here. How they found me. Okay. All right, so and I'm going to kind of put down their questions, but again, we're not going to get to those quite yet. So first, let's tell a story. So, what do you? A novice monster hunter was on the run from an elderly minotaur. I don't know where that came from, but here we are. When she ran past where I lay and kicked me. It was a most unceremonious meeting. At the first pounding of my side, she felt the certainty of victory flow through her and turned on the Minotaur. The thing was old, decrepit, and had a gnarled hoof. Any evil that it caused the land was because of pain and suffering, and not by any real malice of its own. That much was obvious. Oduyu was fighting for her survival, though, and used remnants of their broken sword as a, I don't know, what would we call it? It's like a barrier between the Minotaur and her own body. Eventually bracing it successfully against a nearby tree and using that leverage to spike the poor creature upon it. She picked me up and recognized me as at least something valuable, not special. Okay. Okay. Answer the questions. Okay. Oh, do you belong to the the Guild of Talisman of Guild of the Talisman of Virtue. Interesting. The guild, let's see, the membership of which could trace their lineage back centuries as members, believed that your place in the afterlife was earned by slaying beasts and collecting talismans from the local populace who had been threatened by it. These talismans would be used as both decoration to armor and sit collected on a large brass ring. All right. Interesting. How are used to defeat a legendary beast? Good question. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh. Ooh, I got it. Okay, do you once hunted Cyclops that had been terrorizing and eating the inhabitants of a small village? The village elders had called on her to vanquish this threat to their very survival. And so she came. Once she found the Cyclops in its lair, she entered, and without saying a word, she began drumming at my side. She said nothing, but I locked her eyes with the singular eye of the beast, and all the while working my magic on both herself and it. There came a point where the evil creature could stand the trepidation and terror no more, and ran at her. She had planned for this very thing and used a very similar method of dispatching this creature as she had the Minotaur. She had braced a spear behind her, and when the creature lunged, she moved out of the way quickly. The beast had time to let out but one yelp of both surprise and agony as the spear tip met its flesh, punctured it, then emerged from its back. The Cyclops collapsed to the ground, cursing Oduyu with its last breath. Nice! Okay. All right, so let's go back. Unfortunately, our time with Oduyu will not be forever, because that's the way this works. Answer the keeper's questions. Choose from one of the tables. This time, again, this is I'm very supportive of justice, and she's doing it. So let's go to the Valor and Victories table. This is an easy one. Okay. All right. So a stronghold of great importance was attacked by a dreadful, monstrous horde. How did you help your keeper drive off the fearsome assailants? I again, this is all. It just takes the prompt to kind of jar my imagination and kind of go with it. So that's that's why I love these solo games with the prompts, like 1,000-Year-Old Vampire and of course Artefact here, where they give you prompts and kind of let you run with it. So I like it a lot. So let's do this. Let's see. So Oduyu found herself in a city under siege by orcs. More than 20 lands worth of the beasts. As they advanced, she sat down, cross-legged, atop one of the parapets, facing the horde. The horde! For the horde! No, not for the horde. Calmly, she began thrumming my side. First slowly, and then over time, speeding up my ominous cacophony of power, building and building, and then being released upon the creatures. And that is when the city's gates opened to a run of cavalry that ran through stormed through the ranks of the orcs to the rear of the formation, while infantry fanned out to the sides to envelop it. And the surprised and terrorized clans. Arrows were launched from the walls, all the while. Their flights keeping time with the beats. With a beat of my monotone power that Oduyu was releasing. By dusk, the city was saved, and Oduyu earned uncountable talismans. So cool. Where did this come from? Again, I love these games that give you the prompts and then just go with it. I love it so much. And again, where did this come from? I don't know. There it is. The game brought it about. That's awesome. Cool. All right. So what changed? So I'm going to do a change here. In their terror, the orcs had launched a series of arrows at the city walls, one lodging in my side. Oduyu found that she could only safely remove the half, but the half buried arrow head would remain and become part of me. Wow! Again, loving it. Okay. Alright, so we've completed the Valor thing. How the Keeper loses me, and then time. Let's see. Ooh. Let's see here. Oh, that's gonna wanna. Let's see. Alright, so let's go back. Okay, so we've done the table. Now we have to answer an artifact question. So I didn't want to miss that again, so let's check that out. And then we figure out how the Keeper loses me. Alright. Another question of the thing. Let's see. This is a good one. What is it? A question. Okay. So, of all places that I have traveled thus far, one to which I long to return is Kenthis, the city that I saved from the orcs. The citizens heard my song and my power, and I was nearly worshipped by them for my part in their salvation. I still hear their song. I still hear their songs recounting my ability. my contribution. Cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. It makes a lot of sense. All right, so now we get to the part where we're lost. Let's see. Okay, so there's no kind of question that goes along with this, but we're going to kind of go with the how we got lost. Let's see. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So consider how the keeper loses you. All right. Okay. I just want to delineate that here as opposed to like the artifact question. Saving the city of Canthus was just one of Oduyu's many deeds that earned her talismans beyond her own weight. As I kind of want to, I don't want to say eventually or like a lot, you know, make me give a word like a lot, like I feel like a lot of time is passing for me because it's not. Again, it's like the turn of a page and suddenly, you know, they're old. I noticed that she could no longer hold. See, I noticed that she could no longer hold sword or shield, and eventually, and again, I don't want to use that word, and earned fewer and fewer talismans through combat. She began to use her legend as a means to cause creatures to retreat and run in fear. When that ceased to be effective and her skin was losing its tautness and increasing, and let's see, why is tautness? Okay. Losing its tautness and vitality, she retired, and I found myself on a shelf yet again. This time, though, I was not forgotten, but rather treasured relic amongst other relics. Had served Oduyu in her time. Admired as she would sit by the fire of a hearth and marvel at what she had been and how we, because I'm one of them, how we had been so important to that. When she ceased, I have no doubt that her talismans earned her the highest of places next to her god. And then I was forgotten for a time, locked in a room of treasures. Damn. Sorry, keep forgetting to bring that up there. All right. All right, so I have another Time of Glory keeper. So let's see what that one is. So this will be keeper number 4. Okay, so who is keeper number 4? A righteous champion. Hmm. Oh, you know what? Here it is. A bandit king. We'll get to there. All right. Very sad. Okay. Oop, what did I just do? There we go. All right. The Bandit King. So, oh, you know what? Shoot, I forgot to rest. So let's say I'm going to say a year. Yeah, let's say a year. It's like we're on the shorter end of the spectrum here. Yeah. Let's do, so that's 40 seconds. So let's do it. Let's rest. Here we go. 40 seconds of rest. Time passing without me really even sensing it. A little flitter, a turn of the page. All right, there we go. A year has passed, and that's when my new keeper comes and picks me up. So, Draced. Do you long? Or again, I can't say. I don't want to get into again time. I want to kind of. I want to. I feel. I want to make the listener, everyone else, feel like I, as the item, don't really get the whole concept of time passing. Like, what's a lot of time? It doesn't have a basis for comparison. It's just existed. You know, time passes. That's all I get. So let's do this. So the shells, dusty and littered with cobwebs. The hearth, just a pile of ash hasn't been lit. Let's see, it's the pile of ash now. The heart. Let's see, the bed of the hearth, just a pile of neglected ash. And the lock on the door to my room, now rusty, is suddenly jarred open. Jerry said is a self-proclaimed bandit king and is on a mission to steal from the rich and keep for himself and for his men. Interesting. Okay, so let's answer the keeper questions. Did I do that? Did I put those down already? I think I did. Oh, here they are. All right. So, highlight these real quick. Dre said, calls a fallen castle his home. Let's see. A greater portion of the castle has collapsed, but its high walls, high ground, and arrow slits keeps it a defensible position, and thus is safe haven. How do you help him send? I've found that justice can be a very difficult to achieve thing. Dre said would steal from the corrupt rich. I would see a sense of justice in the act. When he would take from the poor and downtrodden, I wanted to strike at him somehow. But like the beats of a drum, one beat just and the next unjust. Over and over, I found myself, I found myself tolerating the injustices to meet, karma. I don't know, karma upon the evil of the perpetrators of evil. For all, Ray said, cause more justice than not. And so I lent him my power when I felt right in doing so. Okay. Let's see. So that's the keeper's questions. Okay, let's I'm not going to give him like the good times. We're going to go to the neglect and mischief table. Let's see. Interesting. Ooh, this is neat. This is pretty cool. Let's see. This is a very interesting question. I like this. Okay. Okay. Right. Dre said, found that my power seemingly fluctuated, and I could not be relied upon to back his plays, as you would say, with every draw, with every thrum. I became merely part of his hoard of wealth. Found myself this time not on a shelf, but on a literal pile of wealth and magic. Let's see. As I was haphazardly thrown on that pile, I found myself pressed against an amulet that had a sentience not unlike my own. They were a far more ancient item, as I found as they described lands as they knew them, and then saw them through my eyes, noted the significant changes, learned of tales of keepers long since ceased to be, of kingdoms and families extinct, and tomes of knowledge and tales of lore lost in time, such as it is. You're my friend. Possible for my kind. All right. So what changed? Detail, physical appearance. I'm gonna say, yeah, it was during my time in Pile that found other items and pieces of gold and gems beyond counting, mounted upon myself. Nicking at the once smooth surfaces of the wood that had been made from the lightning struck tree. So from which I'd been, how do I keep out time? I keep bringing it up as hard fashioned. Okay, so we've done that. That was like the change that has to come with this sequence here. So let's go back, and it's now time for me to be lost. Let's see here. Okay, so okay, I got it. How does the keeper lose you? Like most bandits, law and justice catches up with them. And so was the case for my keeper, Dre said. The attack, which would claim his life, also collapsed the part of the castle in which the pile of treasure was kept. I shifted in my place and lost track of my friend the amulet, and my sentience wandered through the passage of whatever time I was there. So yeah, I keep trying to get across that this object doesn't understand time, or what's a lot, what's a little, and are they bored, that kind of thing. So we now have let's see here. So we finished the time of glory. Once you have 2, you move on to the ruination. So I'm going to say I'm lost for a whole century. So yeah, I'm just going to pay. I'm going to go back and kind of put this in for those lost for a century. I go back to kind of document how long was between each. And when we start again, we'll be in the 3rd era, if you will. But for a century is 2 minutes. So I'm going to do as the game requests. And I am going to put 2 minutes on the clock. Again, this is, imagine this item, this sentient object is on this pile of gold and items and a value and is forgotten about for a while, and then suddenly is buried and shifted away from its only friend that it's known, this other sentient item that it communicates with. Now it's gone. Now it's alone again. Kind of just quiet. So let's spend that 2 minutes. Be back. All right, 2 minutes. So interesting. So when you're kind of doing that, the resting thing, I kind of I get it. I get why it's included with this because like so me as a human being, I kind of close my eyes and just kind of clear my head and relax. Close my eyes, let the kind of thoughts kind of lift away. But there's this thing like, I know intrinsically in my head there's 2 minutes before the timer goes off. But as time passes, with your eyes closed, you're really not concentrating on anything or caring about anything. You kind of get used to it. And time passes. And it's like, man, keep going. That's okay. And then suddenly the timer goes off, and just like the item, you're kind of brought back, hey, there's change. As the item, I've forgotten about, keepers, or I stopped caring for a while. I just kind of drifted away. And then suddenly, another keeper takes me, and here we are. So, very cool. All right, let's jump right back into the last section here. We're going to choose a keeper. So let's see here. Okay. I think I'm going to go with the Archivist Collector. Okay. Ruination. This is keeper number 5. Trey. Trey Guthrie. And I'll kind of put the questions in below here, but we aren't going to get to those yet. Again, let's tell the story about how we became, we got this new keeper. Eventually, again, I keep wanting to do that, but I'm in the past, and I was jarred by the sensation of movement. It wasn't long after that when I felt digging hands upon my form. Hands led to a face full of glee and smiles. That face, that person, took me to the leader of an expedition. A man who had studied maps left by Drasad and writings which detailed his hoard and its location. The studious man was Trey Guthrie, and unlike my former keepers, how knew without even touching me that, move this up here, that I was aware and sentient. I had, let's see, as I observed my surroundings, I felt something very much akin to what my friend the amulet must felt. The the countryside had changed significantly. The river's path had been channeled, and the much of the decaying stones of the castle were either eroded or swept away. How much longer before the pile was revealed and swept away itself by the waters? Okay. Okay, so let's do the questions. Describe the archives that Trey oversees and where you're stored. Let's see. This time in my place of disuse, and I feel that very big time. It's like I was designed for a thing, and you keep putting me on a fucking shelf, and I can't do that thing. Oh, kept under glass. On a pedestal. Around me are room, library, houses. There's such artifacts as myself, as well as bookshelf upon bookshelf. Oop. Of ancient tome. Tray. Is most interested in the arrowhead embedded in my side, for it helps tell the tale of Oduyu. Now, a figure of much legend and myth. I was there at the at this I was there at the siege of Canthus, and the arrowhead identified as Justice Bringer. I haven't had a name for a while. Let's see here. Just want to make sure I got my new name correct. Yeah, Justice Bringer. Isht. Is the let's see. Was there a scene in this? The fabled drum, which also born by time that I was in the song as Justice Bringer. Okay. All right, so let's go on to let's see here. Answer the keeper's questions. We're gonna go to this one is gonna be neglect and mischief. We're closing this story down or getting close to it. Let's see here. Okay, let's do this one. Okay. All right. So let's see. So this was the mischief thing. So you're put on display to decorate a wall. That will say I was moved from there. You rested there for a long time unused. What was the room like? Were you kept clean and shining? Dust and grime pile off for passing years. Huh. Interesting. I'm gonna say I remained on that pedestal. Trey's visits were interesting. He would study me and talk to me as he would other artifacts in his possession, as if we were pets of some kind, while demeaning his interest and insight into what we are. We're let's see, we were are or appreciate. But like any other storage place filled with wonders, eventually the collector ceases and we are left forgotten. I sit under this glass, now unable to see outside of it for the thick layer of dust on it. I just don't want to get too far ahead of this. So let's see here. I'm going to ask I'm going to do a question first, then we'll kind of continue because this is like we're drawing down here. All right. So I'm going to answer a question quick of the item. Let's see here. Do this one. I'm going to kind of keep this other thing for shortly. Again, we're drawing kind of on the end of this adventure with it. But maybe not the end of its journey, if you will. So the item question is, you are immortal, you do not grow old. What preoccupation of the keepers is most strange to you as one that cannot die? I find that keepers' preoccupation with collection and admiration of artifacts such as self instead of making use of us or voluntarily passing us to someone who can do so frivolous and a waste of power. Yeah, can you imagine you're this artifact and you sit on a shelf for the greater portion of your existence, not doing the thing that the one thing you're created to do? Has to be frustrating. All right, so we answered the question. Let's go back to here. Back to the ruination. So we've kind of closed out this item. So we finish this off here. Epilogue. Let's do an epilogue. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so here's where the journey ends, and this is where I can then pass this item on to, someone to use it in their D&D session or whatever. But here, so I sit under this glass, I see outside it, a layer of dust upon it. I am also not near enough my fellow artifacts to commune with them. Every now and again, something falls on the thick glass of the what are they called? The globe over me. There's a better word for it. And wipes away a small section of the dust. this happens enough so that the effect is very much what I remember of the night sky at times. Light shining through breaks in the darkness. Tiny bits of hope that there is light yet to come. ... fucking dot. And there we go. Basically, my goal is to keep each of the artifacts within one session. So however many I get to is when the session ends. So right now I did not waste. I spent a bit of time in the beginning kind of solidifying things and getting used to it. Once I got into a rhythm, I could easily do one per half hour. So I'm assuming 5 to 6 keepers in a session is what's going to happen. My goal, let's see if I get through it, is to do one of each type of item per stream. So let's see here. So yeah, and I said I'll be sharing all this once I'm finished on my Discord, and the link to the file into Discord. So this is usable by others. So I think that's really cool. I like that. Let's see here. Yeah. So that was a pretty cool session. I enjoyed myself. Again, I like these prompt games where you kind of get a generality, and the game kind of leaves it to you to fill in the blanks and make the story happen. It's there to punch your imagination and get it going, which is cool. So we'll see. Maybe next time I'll do like the in between times where the item is watching like this mini civilization develop around it. But we'll see how that goes. But for now, like I said, I had a really great time this session. I hope you as a viewer did. Again, I am Scott of Scott's Case Files, the Twitch channel you're watching, or the YouTube video you're checking out. If you're watching me on Twitch, all my social media information is below in the about. Please, definitely think of following me on Twitch. I'm also an affiliate, so subscribe if you like what you see and you want to kind of support me in making more. If you're watching this on YouTube, all the information is below in the description. And subscribe to my channel, and hit the little bell to be alerted when I do post new material. So other than that, have a great night. Hope you had fun, as much fun as I did. This was really cool. I love stretching my imagination, and these are the kind of games that do just that. So I bid you a fond farewell. May you find happiness in your week. May things all go well. Be good to each other. Go forth and do no harm. And again, I'm Scott's Case Files, and you're awesome. And just take care of yourself. Talk to you later.